Quick side note, never take 17 years to do a sequel. Bad Boys for Life was directed by Adil Arbi and Bilall Fallah, and stars Will Smith and Martin Lawrence as detectives Mike Lowry and Marcus Burnett, and is the third installment in the Bad Boys franchise, although it's not the final one as a lot of people have been led to believe. Because, I mean, since the ridiculous amount of money it made on its opening weekend at the box office, there for sure are going to make a fourth one, but it's a shame I had to wait till next year to see it. But as for this one, I'm happy to say that this is great. Not perfect at all by any means, but when it comes to the Bad Boys series, especially the first one, it's one of my favorite buddy cop movies. My other two favorites, which, I mean, I know a lot of people will agree with me on this, is Lethal Weapon and Rush Hour. And but in the case of Bad Boys, I like the first one. Enjoyed the second one in a few ways, but the second one has some flaws. But the first one does too, but it's still an enjoyable movie. But in the case of the third one, I'm happy to say that this is the best in the franchise. So, in this film, Mike and Marcus are called back into action when an assassin starts killing various targets around Miami who are personal. I mean, these targets are personal to Marcus and Mike, and they set off for quote-unquote one last ride to take down this assassin and who he's working for. But I don't want to give too much away because major spoilers. But as for the movie's twist, I thought it was handled really well, and I like that the film improves a bit on the villains because because the villains in the first two movies, they were mostly like drug cartel, and they're the basic cliche villains who, there are these drug lords who kill their own men and they're always pissed off and everything. It's pretty much the same thing that we've seen hundreds of times in various other movies, but if I had to pick a favorite drug kingpin, honestly, it would be a tie between Fran Sanchez and License to Kill and Alejandro Sosa and Scarface. Well, actually, no. I think Alejandro's on her back, but he was a good character in Scarface. I really like Tony Montana. Say hello to my little friend. I know my friend Austin's gonna go crazy after saying that line because he is a huge fan of Scarface. Just a quick side note, but let's get to talking about Bad Boys. The action sequences, I think, are by far one of the some of the best that I've seen in this franchise. The risks, there's a lot more risks in this movie compared to the other previous movies. How everything goes down in the finale, though, it has some good, it had some bad, because mostly the final action sequence, you can tell that there are certain scenes where they kind of used a bit of CGI, especially with this one sequence involving a helicopter. It was clearly CGI. That's one of the few minor nitpicks I have with this movie. The comedy, though, it's probably the funniest out of all the movies in the franchise, because I, for one, was laughing my ass off throughout the movie. Because, if you know the one scene in the trailer where Mike and Marcus are getting out of the car and Marcus accidentally hits a fire hydrant and kind of like scratches Mike's car, he's like, "Come on, man!" And Marcus is like, "You can get that bucked out," and Mike's like, "No, you can get that bucked out." I like that moment a lot, but follow before that. If you've seen the second trailer, Mike is driving real fast. He's like, "Even the Batmobile don't hold the roads like this bitch." I like that line a lot. But and if you recall in the second trailer, Marcus is like, "Fast cars don't make you Batman." That's not in the movie, but I kind of wish that line was in the movie. But yeah. Still, there's various funny moments throughout the movie. I don't want to give too much away because spoilers. But they amp the comedy up to 11 in this film. It's like I said, it's by far the funniest in the franchise. But I already mentioned that well, mostly what makes me enjoy this movie a lot is Will Smith and Martin Lawrence as these characters, because they have great chemistry together. They're hilarious as hell, and they kick ass throughout these movies. Because mostly when it comes to them, they're basically the only thing that makes you coming back seeing these movies. I was a little bit disappointed that Joe Pantoliano as Captain Howard didn't really get too much screen time, because there's a reason why, but I don't want to give too much away because spoilers. But although he's not entirely the same pissed off police captain that we knew in the first two movies, he's still great. That's all that I can say. I mean, he's still great. He is. I mean, plus it's Joe Pantoliano. Of course he's gonna be great. But mostly with what they've done with the villains is a major improvement compared to the first two movies, because you have this assassin who's killing various targets who are personal to Mike and Marcus, and the other villain has a sort of a history with Mike. And like I said, don't want to give too much away because it will probably ruin everything, because, you know, don't want to give it away because spoilers. So yeah, they improved a lot with the villains. The supporting characters, I mean, they do have their moments. I mean, they provide a lot of humor, and they also kick ass throughout the movie, especially at the end. Yeah. That ending, though, like I said, it had its moments here and there, but it was flawed. And the mid-credit scene does hint at a sequel happening, but as for how it'll go, I'm kind of curious to see how the fourth movie will turn out, because the Bad Boys for Life is easily the best in the Bad Boys franchise. Yeah, it's a lot better than 1 and 2 in so many ways, so not a perfect movie by any means, but it's still good, especially for a January movie, which kind of had me worried, because January is a wasteland for movies. But I was surprised that this movie was actually good, so I'm gonna give Bad Boys for Life a B+. Yeah, I was really surprised that this turned out good, especially for a January movie. Yeah, this is by far my favorite in the Bad Boys franchise, so if you haven't seen it already, I highly recommend that you should, especially if you like Martin Lawrence or Will Smith, or if you're a fan of the Bad Boys franchise, or a fan of action in general, just go ahead and see this movie. So, so Bad Boys for Life, what did you think? What did you think of the movie? Let me know in the comment section below, and thank you so much, as always, for supporting my channel. And in case you all haven't noticed, I have set up a new background for my set. I still have my Darth Vader cutout. Have my Pulp Fiction poster and my little First Blood stand right there. I recently got this shelf. If you can see on top, there's like a few of my personal favorite graphic novels. My Sega Genesis, and my Sega Genesis for a game for Mortal Kombat 2. I have GoldenEye 007 for the Nintendo 64, and on this stand, my DVDs, Blu-rays, VHS tapes, my video games, and on the one shelf below you can see my PS2. Yeah. So yeah, I had a lot of fun setting this up right before I started the video. So yeah, Bad Boys for Life, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comment section below. So yeah, thank you so much as always for watching. I'm looking forward to doing more videos really soon. If you want my thoughts on old or new movies, of course, you know where to find me.